Hey everyone, it's Guy here. So I want to make a bit of a uncomfortable video here, really, looking at a very difficult subject, which is being presented on a big screen via a movie called The Sound of Freedom. It's all about child sex trafficking, child slavery, paedophilia, abuse. It's really very difficult, traumatic material which is being presented. It's not a movie, well, it is a movie, but it's based on fact. And it's been made very, very public, very widely for us all to see. So it's been released in America and will shortly come over to Europe, I imagine. But there's lots of clips and comments already available on this movie to really support bringing this out into the open. So it's got people like, who's in there? It says Tim Ballard is based on. Jim Caviezel, I think, is the main actor. And you got Anthony Robbins, who's backing it, and Mel Gibson. So it's real mainstream, out there, healing message to people, exposing the vast enterprise that child sex trafficking is, or is becoming, or has become. And it's $1 billion industry all over the world, which is absolutely shocking and terrifying. I mean, many stories about children in war zones, kidnapped, abducted, and put into child slavery, sex trafficking, children born without birth certificates who had just disappeared, and thousands of children in horrendous situations where they're being sold to paedophile rings, which is commercially it's a huge financial enterprise. And so to break the back of something like this is going to take something. It's going to take a huge shift in awareness, and hopefully this movie, Sound of Freedom, is a big wake-up call to that en masse. We have occasional, presentations on sex abuse and all sorts of things which have been out there in the public eye throughout the ages, but it's like this is really time now, huge wake-up call to look at this subject and take account on this, to take action on this in even further level. Tim Ballard is a few organisations which actually go and rescue the children from these horrific situations and exposing the paedophile rings and so forth. I'm also, a victim of child sex abuse. This 12-year-old boy was abused by a man in the village. So it's not always sex trafficking. It's not like the children are always kidnapped and abducted. There's sex abuse all over the planet, which often goes unnoticed and unnamed and unspoken about. And so this is a much, much wider conversation to look at in terms of how are we with our sexuality, human sexuality. What is our education on this? Is pornography an education for sexual awakening, for sexual understanding, for sexual connection, and all the beautiful things that sexuality can be? And how does it get so diverted and perverted and distorted? Let's look at culturally as well, how we brought up as human beings. Do we have emotional literacy? Do we have relationship skill training? Do we understand our own sexuality, the vital power of this force? So this is a really important kind of global understanding, which is really looking at all different areas of how sexual distortion and perversion appears, whether that's through sex abuse or human sex trafficking, paedophilia, or rape, and all sorts of other horrendous forms of sexuality which dishonour the human being, which dishonour the soul, and put many thousands of people into a state of trauma, which needs years and years of recovery to go through such abuse, such a terrifying time. So I just want to give my voice to this because it's, at some level I've got personal resonance with this, being sexually abused, but also just huge compassion for the children of the world, and for us to wake up and to recognize we need to understand that this financial industry, it's just horrific, it's barbaric, it's evil, it's cruel, it's, it's just dishonoring of the human being and needs to be stopped. So anything that can be spread in awareness and action and maybe financial support to these wonderful organizations that are rescuing children, also hopefully being there to counsel children, survivors of such horrific situations. So giving my voice to this, giving my support to this. I can't wait till this movie comes out here in Europe so we can also watch this. And just invite you to have a look at it. Look at the comments on it, share this. Let's bring this into awareness. Let's bring this into action so we can create and promote a safer, healthier, more organic, nourishing world for us all to live in. All to live in. Thanks very much for listening. From me here, Guy Barrington.